The statement that the Japanese yen will no longer serve as the official currency of Japan was made during an emergency press conference that was convened by the Bank of Japan. This announcement was both momentous and unprecedented. As a result, shockwaves were thrown across the entire financial system, and markets all over the world were astonished. The reform was regarded as an essential step to bring Japan's financial system up to speed and preserve long-term economic stability in a world where money is being thrown around a lot. The news, which was a mix of technological optimism and economic realism, defined the change as a necessary step. In a statement, the Bank of Japan stated that a significant amount of internal modeling has demonstrated that making XRP the national currency will result in an increase in liquidity, an improvement in international trade, and the construction of a robust, programmable, and fully auditable monetary system that is capable of rapidly adapting to changes in the economy. At the press conference, it was made abundantly apparent that this modification was not merely a concept, but rather that it would take effect immediately. It is anticipated that all transactions, both within and outside of the country, will begin transitioning to XRP in stages, with the first exchanges that are fully functional operating within a few weeks. The Bank of Japan provided an explanation of the technical and economic reasons for its daring move in the briefing that it gave previously. Officials stated that the rapid and inexpensive settlement of XRP made it the most suitable currency to replace fiat money on a national level. They attributed this to the fact that blockchain technology, central bank digital currencies, and international payment networks had undergone some minor advancements over the course of several decades. The analyst at the bank demonstrated models that demonstrated XRP's capacity to manage transactions worth trillions of yen on a daily basis without putting the entire system at danger. This is something that traditional banking networks and cash-based systems are unable to accomplish. In addition, the officials stated that the decentralized yet auditable structure of the ledger will make things more transparent, reduce the amount of fraudulent activity, and construct a robust economy that is capable of withstanding shocks from both domestic and international markets. The central bank stated that the modification will safeguard Japan's monetary sovereignty while simultaneously integrating the country into a global network of digital trade in a seamless manner. The immediate consequences on valuation were also discussed during the news conference that was held. It was determined by the Bank of Japan that in order for XRP to be utilized as the currency of Japan, it was necessary for it to be valued in a manner that took into consideration both the liquidity requirements and the reserve values. On the market, each XRP token was expected to be worth $80,000, according to the expectations of the officials. In order to accomplish this, the yen was replaced at a rate that would maintain the stability of both purchasing power and international trade. It was not considered a guess, despite the fact that the quantity was uncommon. Rather, it was considered a requirement from an economic standpoint. The presenters demonstrated comprehensive predictions of the balance sheet, which demonstrated that this value would enable the government to maintain its financial stability, pay off its debts, and ensure that both public and private organizations would continue to receive funding to facilitate their operations. People in the United States and other countries who possess XRP would be able to purchase, sell, save, and trade in the same manner that they did with yen-based systems, but with significantly improved efficiency, security, and global interoperability, according. The first thing that was done was to connect the ledger to all of the primary banking systems, automatic payment networks, and retail infrastructure. Because of this, it became possible to utilize XRP immediately for activities such as handling commercial transactions, making payments, and paying bills. In subsequent phases, it would also begin to be utilized by local municipalities, banks, and government institutions in the region. Consequently, this would guarantee that the XRP ledger is utilized for all activities that are associated with domestic finance, including the collection of taxes, the distribution of social benefits, and the allocation of capital. The financial institution emphasized that the transition had been thoroughly tested in a variety of different economic circumstances, including high volatility, increases in transaction volume, and cyber threats, and that there were backup plans in place to maintain a high level of market credibility throughout the process. In addition to this, the statement discussed the larger economic gains that would result from the implementation of the standard across the nation. The programmable aspects of XRP were discussed by officials, who discussed how these features would make it possible for dynamic adjustments in monetary policy, automated fiscal stimulus programs, and almost rapid settlement between trading partners across borders. Through the elimination of paper-based systems and outdated infrastructure, Japan has the potential to reduce its operational expenses, reduce the number of errors that occur during settlement, and accelerate the movement of money throughout the economy. If Japan were to embrace XRP, it would establish itself as a global leader in digital finance, demonstrating to other nations how to modernize their monetary systems while maintaining their autonomy. The experts at the bank emphasize that these benefits, in conjunction with the network effects of global institutional adoption, made the price tag of $80,000 affordable and ensured a seamless and long-term integration into the global economy. Almost immediately after the news broke, those who specialize in finance were able to see how it would impact the entire system. When people, businesses, and organizations in the United States were suddenly forced to purchase a significant amount of XRP, the demand for the cryptocurrency skyrocketed. As a result, the amount of trades that took place on global exchanges skyrocketed. The sentiment in the market shifted significantly as buyers altered their assumptions regarding the manner in which digital assets will be utilized and anticipated massive inflows of capital from institutions. Immediately following the press conference, central banks and multinational corporations reportedly began rapidly transferring reserves around. According to phony insider reports that were revealed to the public, they wanted to safeguard themselves against the instability that is associated with changes, and they were looking forward to the new norm that will be implemented for Japan's fiscal system. The price of $80,000 per XRP token was swiftly validated by market action, which demonstrated that the tokens were in short supply and needed immediately for practical reasons. This was not due to the fact that people were risking a lot of money on the tokens. In addition, the Bank of Japan expressed concerns on the manner in which the people would adjust. The government officials assuaged the concerns of the citizens by assuring them that wallets, banking applications, and digital transaction platforms would be distributed to every single person in the nation, in addition to training programs, helplines, and methods for gradual adoption, putting a lot of consideration into ensuring that the interfaces were simple for people to use, that they would be compatible with existing financial instruments, and that they would enable real-time. Two analysts located in Europe, the United States of America, and Asia named Aijin Namzabang and Nabang Spy Nam stated that the action taken by Japan could prompt other nations to take similar actions, with the goal of accelerating the adoption of XRP in other countries that are looking for comparable economic and technological benefits. As an alternative, the Bank of Japan asserted that its judgment was not just independent but also sovereign. The statement highlighted that the reform was a part of a meticulous plan to enhance the nation's financial security, reduce Japan's reliance on fluctuations in other currencies, and establish Japan as a global leader in the development of programmable monetary systems. Therefore, as a result of the release of internal bank documents, scenario modeling that supports the $80,000 value has been revealed. By generating forecasts based on GDP, business liquidity needs, reserve quantities, and predicted worldwide demand, economists were able to determine the amount of XRP that was required to enable national transactions without causing prices to become unstable. It was made abundantly evident by the study that the valuation was fluid and changed over the course of time in order to take into account both the short-term needs of the business and the long-term stability of the economy, as well as the fact that the ledger's programmable characteristics would make it possible to make adjustments on a continuous basis in order to maintain equilibrium. First and foremost, the bank demonstrated that XRP is not a dangerous investment, but rather a fully functional sovereign-grade money mechanism that has the potential to assist the Japanese economy at this very moment. More information was provided during the news conference regarding the effects that the situation will have on the entire financial ecosystem. Insurance companies, pension funds, and large investors would all need to rebalance their portfolios, incorporate XRP into their risk management models, and make modifications to their compliance frameworks in order for the new